What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in for another episode of the Geek Boutique. As you can see at the beginning of this video, once again, we are having some audio issues with an echo coming from, unfortunately, one of the phones going on Instagram Live. That being said, it's only for the first 5 minutes, so stay tuned because it does get better throughout the video. Let's just go ahead and start this. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Geek Boutique powered by Cosplay Alliance. I'm JS, and this week we're going to be talking about body positivity in cosplay, or actually, maybe more accurately, body negativity. You be the judge of that. But we'll get to that in a minute. Now, like I was just telling these folks, I am a bit under the weather this week, and although I will still be part of the conversation, because you can't shut this guy up. I might be a little bit more quiet than usual. Now, before I introduce our guests today, we are once again live on Instagram, so thank you everybody for watching us. We will try to get to the comments as we go along. Yes, I will try to actually read the comments out loud this time instead of just and then answering the question, and then nobody knows what the question was. So I'm going to do my best here. Now, if you don't want to sit here and watch us, as always, you can listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. If you can't find us on your favorite podcast platform, all you need to do is go to Google, search for the Geek Boutique podcast. We will come right up. Finally, if you're not subscribed to the Geek Boutique Instagram and YouTube channel, please do so. It's 100% free, and you'll never miss any of the action. Now that we're done with the formalities, got a few returning guests tonight. First off, an hour behind us, coming in from Alberta, Canadian comic Cutie. Welcome back to the podcast, Cutie.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, you are always welcome. Also returning for a second time, a little bit more local though. That Valkyrie girl, Megan. How are you doing, Megan?
Not too bad. Hanging in there.
Excellent. And then finally, last but not least, as always, my partner in crime. I want to say resident crotchety old man, but I feel like I'm slowly becoming that guy now.
Who takes
Messiah,
the title?
Yeah, exactly. Messiah Cosplay. Messiah Complex Cosplay. What's going on, Jeff?
Yeah, nothing. It's I'm also not 100% today, but we are still getting an echo from somebody, by the way. So just
I know. I'm just checking my mic. Hang on here.
Make sure your phones are as low volume as possible, so we're not getting.
If actually you've got some headphones, even if you can plug them in, because you can't turn the volume off of your phone while you're live on Instagram.
I realized that. I tried to mute it.
Okay, I'm like,
yeah. So if
Megan,
you can plug in headphones or something.
Possibly?
Yeah. See what you can do.
Because which one do I want to be putting as the thing?
The phone. You want to plug them into the phone because that's what we're getting the echo from.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have anything? I have a pair upstairs that have a lot of exposed wiring, but I haven't been electrocuted yet. Let me grab those.
This sounds like fun.
We may have a death on the podcast, which would be a first.
If the lights start flickering over there.
Shockingly, it would be a first. But
I was like, at least it's like being recorded, right?
That's what I mean. It'll be our highest rated podcast yet. I'm sure it'll only cost Megan her life. That's it.
Oh my
we already have 17 people that joined us on Instagram here.
Okay, I have a question about the Instagram Live.
Yes.
Okay, because we're all joined, can we all see the comments, or is it just like...
We can, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we can all see the comments, yeah.
Okay, because I was wondering about that, because I know I've done lives before, and it was like one person sees their comments, and the other person sees the comments that people are commenting on there, and I was like, I don't know if we see all of them, or...
Yeah, so Instagram was hearing the German dude phone, as well, FYI.
My phone doesn't have a port for an aux card anymore.
Yeah, it sure doesn't. Nice. Do you have anything Bluetooth?
Oh, wait. No, I have... it is still in here. Okay. I have plan.
She has plan. Plan
so,
will be executed.
So Tim is on Instagram, and he's just saying how he could hear the German dude talking about his music as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was super weird, dude. Yeah.
I'm mildly intrigued.
What was weird was though you couldn't hear it, which was bizarre.
No, and that's what told me that it was coming from my soundboard, because anything that comes from my soundboard, I can't hear because I'm technically plugged into my computer, not into my soundboard. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to hear you guys, right? So,
fair enough.
Body Hero says, "Dude, I love your shirts ahead." Thanks, man. It's all 3D printed. It took a long time to 3D print. It's like 10 different pieces, so that as large as I could get those pieces to fit on my printer. That was quite the project. That was my first real big, large 3D printed project.
I love the headphones.
She's having some struggles.
Hi, I'm a mess today.
But it sounds like the echo's gone though, so whatever you did worked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you still hear us okay, Megan?
I can hear you fine. The question is, can I balance my phone now?
Don't you hate that? How like the chargers and the headphone jacks
like mess
up with everything?
And then I can't put it on a. Okay, you're gonna go there.
Tripody thingy, bobber.
I know. I have like 3 tripods right now. You guys.
Candles. There we go.
Hey.
You guys get to see some of the weird stickers that are on my my water bottle. Let's turn to something fun.
Yep. I think we're good.
Tim says all this sounds good. Even on Instagram, it looks like the sound's all good as well. So
thanks, Tim. Appreciate it, buddy.
We are good to go. Jeff.
Yeah. Hi. Hi. How are you? You're feeling under the weather. Hungover? That's
no.
We talked about drinking. What do we talk about, man? I know you're French. I know you like your wine and your beer. But listen,
I'm under the weather. I'm still on the Miller. So what can I say? Yeah. Not a promo. Not sponsored by Miller Lite.
Not sponsored. Yeah, that's right.
But
hey, Miller Lite.
Hey, if you guys want to sponsor us, I mean, I have a Miller on this show.
Sponsorship's open.
Yeah.
Sponsorship's open.
Yeah, wide open.
Talking about the beer.
Yeah.
It's partly responsible for the ever-growing dad bod.
Right.
Well, let's start with this. Jeff, you made a video on Instagram, I want to say just before the holidays, talking about, some of your experiences at Fan Expo. And I'm hoping that, we can all maybe share a little bit of our experiences in this aspect and tell a bit of our stories. Why don't you maybe start by telling everybody that's watching a little bit of your experience and what happened and kind of what brought upon the conversation that we're having today, really.
Yeah, and I had talked about it on my channel a few years ago as well, because something similar had happened a few years ago, probably more in general, but specifically at Fan Expo, and I'll be as brief as I can. If I know I'm going to go to a con and I'm going to be wearing spandex suits, I did a photo shoot with. We're in our spandex suits and we were looking like dope as shit. And I usually try to lean out. So I spend 2 or 3 months and I'm going to use the word diet. And I know some people get upset by that word, but that's the word I use. So I dieted for 3 months and I got down to a weight that I felt comfortable being in spandex suits. I wore 3 spandex suits that weekend. I was Superman, I was Spider-Man, and I was Omni-Man. And I had a blast. I ran into, like I said, I shot with Cutie. I ran into JS. We had a great time at that con. However, while I was at the con, because I was at my leanest, a lot of people came up to me at the con and told me I looked skinny or thin or scrawny, or they said I had lost too much weight, or they didn't like me at this weight, or that I need to have a burger or a sandwich or drink a beer, or whatever the case may be. They were very liberal. I was even getting messages. I was getting DMs and PMs from people saying, dude, stop losing weight. It's not okay anymore. You look terrible, blah, 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 blah. And all that was going through my head throughout the entire conversation is, who in the fuck do you think you are? That you would message somebody or talk to somebody or go up to somebody in person and be like, hey, I don't like your body right now. Could you change that so I'm more comfortable with it? Because that's exactly what was happening. And I got mad about it. I'm not going to lie. I got pretty incensed.
Good, you should.
The entire experience. And so I went online and I posted a video of me talking about it for 15 minutes. And I got a little bit emotional, a little bit ramped up in the video. And I wanted to make sure that when we're talking about body positivity stuff, like we're going to talk about this podcast, we're talking about all bodies, guys. It would be 100% not okay for me to go up to JS and be like, whoa, Been hitting the beers pretty good, eh, Pudgy? Like maybe you know what? I don't want you to put on any more weight, Fatso, because you just look too heavy. I don't like it when you're this heavy. It's not okay. Could we like get to a salad bar to help you? Like, of course I wouldn't do that because that would be disgusting and disrespectful and rude. And not only would he be upset, if anybody heard me saying that, I'd be a pariah, man. You guys would all lynch me for like, how dare you fat shame that guy? Cool.
Yeah.
Let's not skinny shame or fit shame or short shame or old shame. Let's not shame people for their bodies. It seems like a really simple concept, but it seems like there's only one or two things what will give people shit for shaming for, and there's others seem like, well, it's go ahead and give them shit for being too thin for you. Well, man, why are you making that decision, and what makes you think it's okay to come up and talk to me like that? Sorry, I said I'd be short, and I wasn't. I'm getting all wound up again. So.
No, but that's okay because I think that story resonates with a lot of people. It resonated with me. I mean, just look at the comments you got when you made that video. It resonated with a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people got the same or have gotten the same type of response on both sides. Like I'll be honest, in my 20s, I was 6'1" and 140 pounds. I didn't get closer to 180, 190 until I was in my 30s. And now that I'm in my 40s, I'm maybe more closer to the 230. But regardless, when I was, a teenager and when I was a young adult and even in my 20s, yeah, I would get the opposite, right? Like, eat a steak. Like, well, you're a ghost. Why are you so skinny? And now I get the opposite remarks, right? Same thing at Fan Expo. Me and my buddy Rob were going down the escalator, and you can hear somebody, "Yeah, look at the fat predators." You can actually see in one of our videos that I posted, Rob giving the finger to somebody as they're going down the escalator.
Good.
Because of the comment that we got, right? And do you think that it's sometimes a sign of the times that we live in that people just don't care anymore? Whereas I feel like before people were a little bit more reserved as to what they would tell other people, and now with the fact that everybody online says whatever they think with no repercussions, and the fact that we've been secluded for 2 years, that now people are coming out and anything that they think comes out of their mouth without them even giving a second thought about it.
Well, I want to hear experiences that Cutie and Megan have had as well, as far as what you guys have experienced on either and on any end of the spectrum as far as physical shaming goes. What have you guys had experience with? Because I'm sure you guys have.
Well, for me, I mean, everything that you said, Jeff, is literally my DMs on a daily, like 100%. Even it was this morning. I went on live on TikTok and was like, hey, I'm going to promote that. I'm going to try and do the podcast live on TikTok, and I'm going to do it on Instagram, like follow this thing and everything. And I got many people being like, I'm so glad I'm not your weight, like all this stuff. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like, seriously, it's beyond ridiculous. And I don't understand why people think it's okay either. I'm notorious for calling people out right in my stories, sharing our full conversations, tagging them and telling people, report this person. Like, negative stuff does not need to be spread or put out through the community. Like, I mean, I have pretty thick skin. I mean, maybe it's because I am a bigger girl, but at the same time, I look at it and go, there's so many people out there who struggle on a daily with their body image and body dysmorphia and eating disorders and all those things. And these people crush their souls. It's so not okay. Like, it's so not okay.
Agreed. Megan, what do you think?
Yeah, no, for mine, it's a little bit of the other end. I got a lot of what you were saying about Fan Expo previously when I went to cons. I would get a lot of, oh, I just want to feed you a sandwich, and like, we should go out for food. You look so thin. And over the pandemic, now that I've been home, I've put on some weight. And I know it's not to any other person, they're like, you're exactly the same or you're normal, but like, clothing fits different. And in my brain, because I do model, I do my cosplays, it feels weird and it feels wrong, even though now I'm at like what people probably consider acceptable for me. So it's, I don't know, it's weird and it's uncomfortable and I don't like it.
Body dysmorphia is a bitch. Body image issues
terrible.
Are a bitch. Yeah. Because you get locked into one mindset based on the feedback that you're getting.
Yeah.
And then as soon as there's a change on your end, that's what I said in my one video. So now I'm not comfortable when I'm running heavier because I physically don't feel comfortable. But now I'm not going to be comfortable when I'm running light because everyone's going to give me all kinds of grief for it. So it's like, you can't win, right?
Yeah. And I mean, that's the biggest thing too, especially like you were saying with spandex suits. Everybody is like, I mean, it's a skin tight. So you see every curve, every roll, every nick, every cranny, like everything is exposed. So a lot of people do lose weight to fit in them or gain, but it's not because they want to necessarily lose weight so people think that they suit the costume better. A lot of times it is for a health issue. Like, I don't feel comfortable anymore. I'm finding that it's aching, like my muscles hurt, like, you know, it's harder for me to do things that I could do. I'm now losing my breath walking up the stairs. It's not necessarily because you want to be thinner, you just want to get a better health control over yourself, body health, that type of thing. Because even with pandemic, like, there was gyms being closed, you're not able to do these things, and if you don't have a home gym or a space in your home to really do any of those things, like, you are kind of put on the back burner. And here in Alberta, we had craziness for like a week and a half, 2 weeks of like -50 outside. You can't even go for a walk. You can't do those things. So it's a struggle in general. So commenting on anybody's weight that they can't change within 30 seconds is ridiculous. Like, it's not something that should ever be a discussion.
No.
And you're right, and it does go both ways. And I feel like sometimes people see commenting on somebody being thin as okay, whereas somebody being bigger maybe not okay. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been in the same I've been caught with that. I walked into a cafe and bumped into my buddy Nick one day, and Nick was never a big guy, but he was always, you know, in good shape. And I bump into him, and he looks really, really skinny. And the first thing out of my mouth is, "Oh my God, Nick, are you okay, man? Like, you look like you've lost a lot of weight." And that probably was completely wrong of me to even bring up. But again, in my mind, on you know, on the spot, that's what I thought, and I just said it, right?
Yeah.
And I should have kept it. And Nick, if you're watching, I don't think he's watching, but if you ever watch this, you know, after the fact, I'm sorry, you know. And I said this in front of a cafe full of people to boot. Like, how much of an idiot am I? You know what I mean?
Well, but that's what I think that's the point we're all trying to make, is for some reason some of this stuff has been acceptable for too long.
You're right.
And that's where we have to start changing the conversation and realize that that's what body positivity is. It's all the damn bodies. It doesn't matter if you're tall or short, thick or thin, young or old, any gender, any capability. It has to be all bodies. Otherwise the movement's pointless, because then we just get into self-selection stuff. Like, we're going to stop fat shaming. Cool, man. So then let's stop shaming the whole thing. Like, let's not focus on one thing or another. Let's focus on all of it. And I think part and parcel of what you're talking about too, JS, is so many people put being thinner on a pedestal that people feel comfortable thinking that even though what you're doing clearly isn't complimentary, it still feels okay to say it because people want to be thinner. That's the societal ideal, even though it's horseshit.
Absolutely.
I think that's part and parcel of where that comes from. Megan, you look.
Yeah, I deal with that a lot, actually, because like I am a shorter girl and I am a bigger girl, and I'm not ashamed of any of that. Like, there's not one thing that I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to change. Like, if I want to eat a cheeseburger today, I'll eat 6 because I love food. So it's not even an issue. But I get a lot of that too, where I have been turned down for modeling with people being like, yeah, they're all this size and you're that size. You're not doing it. And I get branding and I understand that thing, and it may not be their thing. But sometimes when they're talking to you and telling you you don't fit their brand or you don't fit what they had in mind as a vision, they can be just as harsh as any of those people online. And that is also ridiculous to know that it's not only in our community, but it's also in every other aspect of the world, whether it comes down to modeling gigs, whether it comes down to brand ambassadors, things like that. And it's crazy, like how people can just be like, yeah, all these girls are like a size 2 and you're like a 10. I'm sorry, that's unacceptable. And it's like, it's not unacceptable. It's just not what you're looking for. Like, try and be a little bit more tactful versus telling me that, you know, I'm not the right size for what you're looking for. So wording, I think wording is key.
Now, Megan, you've actually professionally modeled. You've been a model for years. So obviously the agency is likely probably giving you not shit per se, but you have to update them on everything, right?
Yep. So every time that any measurement changes, if I go up a size, if I go down a size, I need to shoot off an email to Gemini and be like, hey, these are my new measurements. If anyone's looking for that, I guess this is what I am now. But the biggest thing with agency, and that's what you were just saying, is that a lot of gigs are for sample size. And sample size is either a size 2 or a size 4. And if you're not that, 90% of the jobs are not going to be something you can do.
Yep.
which seems ridiculous to me because again, and again, not shaming anybody that's a size 2 or a size 4, but if 90% of the gigs are size 2 and 4, that should represent 90% of the people out there. Are 90% of the people size 2 and 4? They sure as shit are not. So you would think there would be, you know, a broader range or a broader scope of what's available. So what?
I mean, it's.
What,
I was going to say, even with like the plus size branding and stuff too, they don't want somebody necessarily a certain size. They want to keep it in a smaller end of the plus size a lot of times too. I've had that issue where I'm not big enough and I was like, okay, well, that's fair. Like, you know, I'm not angry at that, but then I'm still too big. And it's like, are you just looking for specific body types where it's less chunk in the face? Maybe like they always look at every aspect. And I mean, that is their industry and I understand. But again, it's not done very tastefully. So it's not for the weak at heart, like at all.
No,
do you feel that there's been,
yeah.
do you feel though there's at least been some change in the conversation with the fact that there are now plus size models, that there are people that are representing different body types and body shapes and specific ad campaigns even? I remember, I think it was Dove that came up with an ad campaign and it was like 10 or 12 women lined up and they were all completely different shapes, sizes, color, height, you name it. So do you feel like the conversation is at least changing a little bit now?
It is, but I think it's different brands. I think it is based on that company in general because they only make certain sizes or they only work within certain measurements. So it is brand specific versus being like Dove where they're like, we're a skincare line, right? We're hair products, we're those type of thing. They're not clothing. So really for them, adding plus size in is great and we appreciate that, but it's not really like a difference versus say like, you know, Hot Topic or things like that. Like adding in those plus size girls for clothing is way different than skincare and body care in general.
Yeah, and you want to make sure that you're avoiding. Go ahead, Megan.
Well, I was going to say, I think that the point where we can say that it's becoming more inclusive and more generally accepted in marketing and in branding is when you walk into like an American Eagle or some other like Sirens or whatever, and their ads that they have on the wall have people that are a size 2, a size 6, a size 12. And they're all together in the ads that they're actually showing in the stores. But that's never what they have unless they're catering towards plus size specifically.
Yeah.
And I think too, some of the companies maybe get involved in a little bit of tokenism, a little bit of, I hate using woke or wokeism because at least the change is still happening. But sometimes I fear that some of the companies are doing it just because they feel like they have to and not because they're trying.
Yeah, they're doing it for appearance. For sure they are.
Exactly.
There's so many companies that do that. They're doing it for.
But hey, it's still a start. Now, how do we bring that down to where we are like in the cosplay community and such? How do we make it so that we can go to a con and we don't have to worry about getting shamed if you're a dude for being 5'4", or if you're a person that's in their 50s or 60s, or if you're someone that society feels is heavy or having some extra weight or too thin, or or you're non-binary and people are giving you grief for that. Like, how do we move the conversation within the cosplay community to a more acceptance across the board? What do you guys think?
Well, I always tell people dress for your body type. So no matter what you want to wear. So if you want to be Spider-Man and you are like 5'2" and a bit bigger or size like plus size or anything like that, that's fine. Dress to your body. Don't try and fit something that doesn't fit you correctly. Like, be comfortable in your own skin, because once that is presented, it shows that you're confident. It shows that you're comfortable, and you look excited about it. And that's the biggest thing, is no matter what size you are, if you're dressing for your size and your body type, you're going to kill it every time. Every time.
Whoops. That's quick.
I was like in the corner of my eye, like phone.
Totally fine. Fine. All fine. Yeah, everything's just more technical difficulties from this stupid old man. Hey, hi everybody. Welcome back to Instagram Live with your host, Messiah Complex Cosplay. What's going on?
I feel Megan, like being able to have the conversations at all, is big.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to sit down with people and have conversations and have people watching and people hearing, and I also truly believe that it's also a little bit of on us, on your own state of mind, right? It's one thing to say we want to make this a better place, we want there to be more acceptance, but at the end of the day, there's only one person that can really truly accept you, and that's you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have to be comfortable with yourself, and to go back with what Keita was saying, You have to be comfortable with the cosplay that you're wearing, and you have to be comfortable with what you're doing. At the end of the day, I hate saying it, but I think that you need to have a little bit of a thick skin, put on a spandex suit, and go to a con,
Oh, of course.
regardless of your size.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
I mean,
so the point I'm trying to make is no. Why should I have a thick skin? Why should people be able to come up to me and just say whatever they want about my appearance whenever they
But
feel
see,
like?
I
And they
think the
shouldn't.
difference is that if you don't say something back, that is a you problem. And I'm sorry, that sounds harsh and rude and all of that above. But if you can't say to them, excuse me, why do you think it's okay to say that to me?
Oh,
And
for
put
sure.
them on the spot,
Yes,
it makes
absolutely.
them second guess who
Right.
they're going to say that to next. And I've
Right.
done that so many times.
Hopefully.
I've had people come up to me and grab my butt and think it's okay too in costume because I'm a girl and I'm wearing, booty shorts and I have dancer's tights on and all these things. And they grab me and I'm like, why do you think that's okay? Well, and no, I don't know. And this is unacceptable. And I think it comes down to body positivity and body shaming too. Be that person to stand up. If you hear somebody saying it across the corner and you're within like earshot and you can hear it, walk up to them and be like, excuse me, what is wrong with you? That is not okay. Like, look at that person. You hurt their feelings. Call them out.
Yeah,
Megan.
without being the person, without people saying that, or without people that are
Mhm.
actively trying to be inclusive and to be positive for everyone, then the louder voices that are going to be judgmental and just assholes are going to be the ones that we hear, and that's going to be the ones that stick in people's
Absolutely.
brains.
Absolutely.
So step one, call them out on their bullshit. That's how we
Absolutely.
start to change the conversation. And so shame the shamers, essentially, is what we're going to do.
Well, exactly. You don't even have to shame them necessarily. You question why they think it's acceptable. Like, that's
Right.
not necessarily shaming them. That's just being like, why do you think this is okay to do? Like,
No, I'm okay with shaming someone for shitty behavior because that's
Yeah.
within your control. You don't have to be an asshole. You're choosing to be an asshole. So if you're
Yeah,
choosing to be an
yeah.
asshole, I'm going to
Fair
shame you for it. I'm fine with asshole shaming. We're not body shaming here, kids. We're asshole shaming. That's fine.
Yeah. There's a line.
yeah,
So
I don't have a
call-
problem being an asshole towards an asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're gonna be
Yeah,
a
yeah.
jerk.
And
I can be a jerk
and
to the best of them.
don't be an asshole towards me because I'm way better at being an asshole than you are. So it's not going to turn out well for you.
Yeah, like I said, I'm the
Tim-
person. If you say to my DMs, I'm tossing it on my feed. I'm making it aware of what you're saying and how you think it's okay to talk. You don't do this. Act right.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Jess.
Tim's got a lot of comments here as far as and I'm going to paraphrase because he's got like 7 or 8 comments in a row here, but basically people being a little bit too liberal with what they're willing to tell people in public or with their opinions, whether it be about skin color, the cosplay you're wearing, et cetera, which goes along with what Body Heroes is saying about now I lost the comment. These comments here are so hard to keep up on Instagram.
That's your job.
Basically, somebody coming up to you saying, "Oh, well, your cosplay's not like the movie. It's not movie accurate." Who gives a fuck? Why do you go up to people if you don't like it? You don't like it. You're allowed to not like it, and that's the thing too. You're allowed to have your own opinions. You're allowed to think whatever you want to think. I think the problem is when
Inside
you
thought.
start, when you start vocalizing that to people and making them feel like crap, is where the problem really lies. I think. You're allowed to not be okay with somebody's costume or somebody's look or somebody's whatever, but to go to that person and start trashing them in front of everybody and making them feel like shit, now you're just being an asshole.
Yeah, agreed. I think shaming the shamers is a good. By the way, if you're able to do, I know some of us have social anxiety. Some of us practice a lot of conflict avoidance and will get stressed out and nervous and such. Or even tell somebody else like this guy did this or said this or this girl was saying this to me or whatever. I think shaming the shamers is a big part of it. On the negative side, what do you think we can do to help better prop up maybe some of the not classically size 2-4s or not the classic body shapes and sizes and types that we see? So instead of focusing on the negative, which I think we should do anyway, shaming the shamers is great, but how do we move it to a more positive conversation? How do we prop it up so that it's okay to be old or short or bigger or skinny or whatever? What do we
Nailed
do?
me all in that one phrase. Good job.
But it's funny that you say that because when you look at these, because they call them craftsmanship competitions now, right? These cosplay contests. They're not cosplay contests anymore. They call them craftsmanship competition. But really, if you're not exactly that body type and that, you know, they don't even consider you for them, right? So it goes beyond just the people at the con that crosses your path. It's a mentality within, I feel like, not just cosplay. It's just a mentality out there nowadays that it's okay to body shame people for no absolute reason. Now, I don't know. That didn't answer your question, Jeff. I realized that. I completely realized that. It was just
the
a point I was
best
trying to make to go
I'm just
along
gonna
with
go
what you were
off.
saying.
Why, Jay?
Yeah.
That's good. You said you were feeling under the weather. I couldn't tell at all. So
Well, yeah, there you
anyway,
go.
no. I'm just
Okay.
kidding.
I'm going to take
ahead,
a shot at answering the question. I would say that like a lot of it is starting just personally, internally. Like we were saying that it's okay to have like those inside thoughts, but a lot of what changing your perspective and the cosplay the perspective of like the community in general is one person at a time. That like when you see someone, if your immediate reaction is, oh, they're too this or that or whatever for their costume, to like practice changing how you think, like stop and be in your own head like, no, that's not okay, they can do what they want, they look awesome, and like you'll train your own brain that that's your gut reaction eventually.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think that there's a lot of pages on Instagram and all over the internet that do share a lot of cosplays on the daily. There was one group, I will not name names because I no longer affiliate with them and they don't need any more crap. But they used to do like big, like thick girl Thursdays and things like that. And I used to be mildly offended by it because it's like, really, you're going to dedicate one day to thicker girls. And it was like, okay, well, I appreciate that you're sharing these bigger women cosplaying, modeling, all these things. Like that's great, but to label it like that is such a toxic way to share a prospect on body size and type. So I had messaged them and I was like, look, like you should be sharing them throughout the week regardless of size, gender, race, all these things, like that type of thing. And they legit shut me down. They're like, no, one day a week's fine because we lose viewing, we lose like our insights go down on everything, nobody likes them, everything. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. So it has a lot to do with what people want their image to be perceived as. So these bigger sharing pages, they know they get more likes and more followers and things like that for these Instagram models, or, you know, the size people or the people who are accurate in their cosplays versus the people who are putting the time, the love, the passion, the effort into these things. It may not be, you know, a size 4 and under. So I think a lot of times it's going to have to be everybody doing their part and sharing and understanding that no matter what you look like or anything like that, that they should deserve praise for what they do. It's a craft in itself and they should be embraced for doing their art and their craft.
And I want to make sure that we all understand, to go along with the thin shaming and such, that we're not shaming anybody that's a size 2 or a 4, by the way. It doesn't matter. And I think that probably has to be where the conversations start going, because it seems like, especially with the advent of the internet, this wonderful invention that we're all talking on now, we've really all gotten really focused on labels. I feel like this is the most labeling generation there has ever been, and everything has a label now, and it seems to further segregate and categorize everybody. And it's too easy just to slap a label on somebody and be like, oh, you're that thick girl with 3 C's, or you're that curvy girl, or you're that, do you know what I mean? Or you're whatever the case may be. I think that might be part of the conversation. Why is it curvy cosplays? Why isn't it just cosplays? Why are we designating specific cosplay? Now, trying to highlight maybe disadvantaged groups or a group that don't get enough representation, that's fine. But we still don't have to start labeling names on it, because that still, to me, segregates it out.
Absolutely.
Just feature those cosplayers more often. If they're short, or they're a different race, or they're non-binary, or they're old. I've been toying with the idea of starting an old men of cosplay. You know, you're over 35 and you cosplay and you're a dude, because let's face it, old men cosplaying probably the least represented as far as the cosplay community goes.
Well, yeah, and I mean that's the thing is with male cosplayers, they are like not as featured on a lot of different pages and stuff. There is very few and far between, and even then it's still the people who are a certain size and accuracy with cosplays and things like that too. So it's not just female based, it's like in general everybody. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating to see that if I do a share for share day on my Instagram and I only get a certain type of people, I myself will go out of my way to share my friends that won't comment, be like, share my stuff, because they're nervous of the reaction they're going to get online, or that people aren't going to go to their page, or they're going to get hate because of what they do, the size they are, the way they look, all these things. And it's extremely frustrating to know that that's even a thing.
Yeah, Tim was talking about there is an over 40 cosplay group on Instagram.
Is there really?
There is. Yeah, I've actually been on there a couple of times.
Hey Tim, send me the link to that.
Yeah, you should definitely throw a. They have a web submission form. You just go there, you throw a picture up, you put in your information, and they feature it on their page, and then they come back to you like every 3 or 6 months and be like, "Hey, it's your turn to be featured again." I'm like, "Cool."
Yeah, it's a legit.
Hey Tim, do they also have an almost 50? Do they have an almost 50?
Hey, hey! That's why I'm making my own damn channel. Blackjack and hookers.
Is that what your next cosplay is?
That's what my next cosplay is, Bender, as a crotchety old man. I don't need to. I'm already that guy. I'm already the crotchety old man.
There's a question here from Geek Pooler saying, I have a question. Would you, it's not related to the conversation at all, but I'll read it anyway. Would you rather be called the character that you're cosplaying, real name, or cosplay name? And I know how some of you will answer that question. For me, it doesn't really matter if I'm in if you're seeing me in cosplay, call me by my real name or by the cosplay name. But otherwise, if you're interacting with me, everybody knows my real name. I know some people don't like to have their real name out there. Cutie, if you want to take that one.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm sorry, by the way, because I think I dropped your real name earlier in the podcast, so I apologize. Don't rewind.
Oh, great! Now that you said that, people are going to go back.
Yeah, everybody's going to go back and listen. I'll beep it out. I'll bleep it out.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't put my real name online because I don't want to, and I don't need to. To be honest, it's just my own thing with what I do. I'd rather have my own little personal bubble be my personal bubble. When it comes to conventions, if you yell at me Wonder Woman, I'm not going to know you're talking to me. I'm sorry. Like, I am so oblivious. I am like that, ooh, squirrel. Like, I will not hear you. So you're better off just to yell cutie at me, or like, caca. I may turn around because that's like my favorite thing to do in a crowd. I even have it tattooed on my arm. That's my cheese. There you go. So it's it's a mango and it says caca. Yeah. Anyway,
never not gonna caca you whenever I see caca.
Yeah. So for me, generally cutie or something like that, but never my real name. I will not answer you, even if like you're looking at me and you say my real name. I'll literally like look away. I will act like I do not exist in your presence. Yeah. So
good to know. For a lucky few that know her real name, I will never use it in your presence. I apologize. That's a Canadian comic princess up there, I think.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right. Megan, what about you?
I probably, it depends on the thing. If I'm having a good day and I can actually pay attention and notice if you yell a character name, that's fine. But actual name and handle is more likely to actually get through to my brain and be noticed.
Yeah,
I definitely I think sometimes it might depend on the character too. Like some of the characters that I do, it's obviously like when I'm Negan, no one calls me anything but Negan, because that character's name is so synonymous with that character. It's like part of his character. He makes other people use the name too. I do get just Messiah a lot. Like I think a lot of people that know me from online that don't actually know my name is Jeff, or they don't know that that's pronounced Jeff and not GF. I think so I'll be at a con and like across the floor, so I'd be like Messiah, and I'll be like, yeah, man, that's me. That's not pretentious at all, is it? Yeah, how you doing? So that can get a little bit weird, obviously, but it's but every now and then that like it's nice to be, I guess, recognized as the character that you're portraying, that someone would come up to you and use that name to know, like someone's like, hey, Cable or whatever, be like, yeah, man, that's
I think that happens more often or not with children around. So if kids are around and I'm cosplaying as Wonder Woman, be like, hey, there's Wonder Woman, I'm clearly going to pay attention because usually it's a small child and keep the dream alive. So I will generally pay more attention in that aspect. But yeah, I'm literally like squirrel, like just random.
No, that's actually an interesting. That's a good question. It's not exactly on topic, but it's still a good question for sure.
It's not on topic, and it's an interesting question because I like, even as I'm reading the comments, like Tim, for example. Like I know it's Tim, so I call him by Tim, but maybe I should be calling him by his Instagram name because maybe people don't know that it's Tim.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean?
you give him a plug, and then we can check out his
And then
Instagram.
and then I'd be giving him a plug, right? Instead of people not really knowing who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
You know, same with like Marianne the other day, right? Marianne was commenting, and I was calling her Marianne instead of calling her by her Instagram name, and so on and so forth, right? So I'm sorry, folks. So maybe I should get into the habit of doing that, you know, just for the sake of doing that. Megan, I don't know that you've had a chance to give us your maybe one or two of your experiences when it comes to. Well, I guess you did a little bit about. You said earlier, other conventions. More in the modeling industry, what you were talking about, but have you? I mean, in cosplay, have you gotten that kind of a reception in cosplay at all, or
So
has your experiences on that end merely been more in the modeling side?
So I definitely get it more for modeling, but I've had a couple of the thinner comments, definitely with costumes, especially when, again, like spandex suits or anything really tight, because like it shows everything. So you get a lot of it. Sure does, and isn't that great?
Yeah, it's
But
terrible.
yeah, when it's more fitted costumes or costumes that ones that I realized I got a little bit more in is I do a couple of costumes being like guys. So I have like a Spike, I have a Jareth, and they're both a little bit like longer and leaner, but I notice people more like making comments about my body when I'm doing a character that's generally like beefier or would have a different body shape, or again, just the spandex costumes. So yeah, that's always...
For you and Cutie specifically too, I imagine you guys probably struggle with being over-sexualized entirely too much as well, which is still another, it's still another version of shaming. It's still people coming up to you and making assumptions based on your appearance, which is what we're trying this whole goddamn podcast to fight against. So
yeah,
I mean, what incenses you? I shouldn't say what incenses you more. Both of them should incense you. But what is your experience? Do you get more of the over-sexualization, or do you get more of people picking apart your overall look?
For me, it's the over-sexualization. Wow, that was a word. Dang, my mouth broke there. Anyways. Yeah, I get over-sexualized. There we go. All the time. But again, I am aware of that, not that it's okay, but like I said, I've had people just walk up to me to grab my butt because I'm wearing booty shorts. I've had people do all of these types of things, and it's like, I get where you're coming from and with the work that I do, but that is not acceptable. Like, you treat me as you would treat any other person. Consent is always key. Don't touch me without consent. And if I say no and you still touch me, I'm probably going to break your jaw. Like, I do not let people get away with anything.
Walk around and find out.
Yeah, exactly. But I do find, for me, because I am short, and every time I go to a con and I'm not wearing heels, I always get, wow, you're a lot shorter and a little thicker than I figured. And I was like, you're welcome. Like, I don't care. It doesn't bother me because I'm happy with who I am. And I'm
still such an asshole thing to say to somebody, though. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm meeting you for the first time. By the way, you're shorter and you're thicker.
Yeah.
What are you
and so
doing?
Of course, but that's where I always go, yeah, you're welcome. And I'm like, but why would you say that? Like, it's awful. I mean, I'm not offended by it because I don't care, but you do you. But that's not okay. Like, what if somebody beside me heard that and it affects them way more than it would affect me? Like, so again, it's calling people out, doing that thing. And so either one is kind of the same for me. I get both. So not one more than the other.
What about you, Megan?
I feel like I'm almost I don't want to say desensitized because it still bothers me. I feel like I'm more desensitized to comments about like being too thin or body shape in general than the sexualization, because that like really gets to my brain. I'm like, oh, I don't like this. It's not fun.
Yeah.
Because those are the comments more so that I would get on social media rather than comments about my weight. It would be more so, for social media at least, a lot of the like, hey, sexy, or I have like this or that or the other thing that I want to do to you. And I'm like, yeah, delete, go away.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's
that goes right along
with the worst one in my brain.
Yeah.
Uh,
That goes right along with Geek Pooler's question here, who before we even got into this was asking, do you ever get size shame, not about weight, but about being too short or too tall for a certain character that you're cosplaying?
all the time.
I mean, for me, again, like Cutie was saying earlier, I tend to try to cosplay within my, I don't know how to explain it. Like, you know, I cosplay a predator, right?
Stay in
With
your
my
lane.
helmet on and my boots
Yeah.
on, I'm like 7 foot tall, right?
Stay
Like
in your
I'm,
lane. Yeah.
yeah, like when I'm cosplaying Red Hood, I'm a 6'1", you know, tactical pants, army boot wearing, you know, I'm
Mofo.
a big dude. What can I say, right? So
Mhm.
I I'm not gonna go cosplay Superman because I'm not built like Superman. I'm not gonna cosplay a short character because I'm not short. But again, that's
And
just
see,
me.
I'm gonna stop you for a second. But the reason that you're not doing that is based on you, not on, you know, anybody else doing it. And that's where that whole thing of as long as you're comfortable in what you're doing, it's fine.
Exactly. I'm
Mhm.
doing it for me, right? I
Exactly.
cosplay those characters because those are characters that I feel comfortable cosplaying,
Mhm.
right? If anybody else wants to cosplay different or those characters or whatever the case is, that's on them. That's not on me. That's not none of my
Absolutely.
business, right?
Yeah.
And we've had this conversation before on another cosplay episode. I think actually maybe Cutie, the episode you were on, you know, where it doesn't matter what other people think. It's what you want to cosplay, right? It's what you're
Mhm.
comfortable with cosplaying. And as long as you're happy with your cosplay, that's really what should be the most important. But
Absolutely.
it doesn't change the fact that one person will make one comment and that will stay with you.
Mhm.
One
Mhm.
person makes one comment about that one cosplay and you'll never want to wear that cosplay again.
Yeah, you can get 100 compliments on something, but you'll get one negative comment, and that's the only thing that will stick in your brain. That
Yep.
one negative comment, and
Yep.
it's atrocious. I've had costumes that I've only worn once, and I've never worn again because of one person said one shitty thing to it. And I hate giving that person the power to affect what I'm going to do, but at the end of the day, you can't help what your brain does, and you're just laying there at 2 o'clock in the morning in the hotel, just going around in circles in your brain, remembering what that person said over and over again. And it just, you end up shaming yourself about it. And you're like,
Yeah.
you can't just put it away. And I try to like prop up. I'm like, yeah, but 47 of the people said it was really cool. Well, dinner's ready.
Like, what is
Okay.
that?
Where's that from?
Let's go on a trek to the door. Someone's
Someone's at your door. Let's go
Yeah.
see who's at the door.
Yeah.
While Megan's doing that, Body Hero is saying here, I'm 5'7". I do get shamed because I'm not over 6 foot tall.
Mhm.
But not in cosplay, but in real life. Oh, that's weird.
Oh.
I'm surprised people would shame you for not being 6 foot tall in real life more than in cosplay. But I'd be interested in finding out more about that. But I enjoy what I'm doing. If people have a problem with that, that's just it. Their problem. Exactly, it's their problem.
Mhm.
Man, I hate the way these comments work here on Instagram.
Short guy problems are tough. Not. It's hard for guys like you and I to get that JS because it's. I feel like you can go on the internet and you can find meme after meme after meme after meme about guys and struggling with dating and everything else
Mhm.
because they're under 6 feet. Because it seems like, anyways, according to these guys, most women are attracted to guys that are taller and blah 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 blah. So I get where he's coming from. I can't empathize because I'm not a short guy, but it's still. I can only imagine because it's completely and totally beyond your control. You can't just be taller. You can't just be shorter. You have no. You can't. JS, you can't be 20 years younger. I can't be 30 years younger.
Well, because I'm 5'2", so
Uh,
I'm short, and I cosplay Wonder Woman all the time, and everybody's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's the shortest Sam I've ever seen." It's like, and like, like, okay, but it's not going to make me stop cosplaying the character because again, I love the character. She means something to me, and so it's not going to prevent me. But yeah, like I get short shamed all the time. Like I'm surprised. Like I haven't got any comments on our photo shoot, Jeff, because I'm so much shorter than you. And it's I was ready for it. I was waiting for it. And nobody did it, and I was mildly
No.
annoyed that nobody called it out because I'm usually like really happy with some of the jokes that happened, but yeah.
No, I think a couple of your male followers were maybe not super happy that I was in those photos with you, but I saw some of those comments and they were like, "Yeah, we don't like this one. We don't know what it is about him that we don't like." And I was like, "All right, guys, I get it." Sorry,
That
man.
was the funniest comment ever. It
That
made
was
me
pretty
laugh.
great.
That was
Yeah,
great.
If you guys haven't seen on Instagram, haven't seen the photo shoot, they both have on their Instagrams some of the pictures. So go check them out. Geek Pooler's on fire here. Do you get shamed for buying and not making or building your cosplays?
Of course.
I will say that in general, at conventions, no. But within the community, hell yeah. There seems to be a group of people that think that because they make versus buy that they're better than the people that buy.
Yeah, that's a common thing, to be honest.
Yeah, and I don't get it. I'm a maker myself and I still don't get it, right? Like I don't understand what it matters. I'm actually kind of jealous of people that can afford to buy professionally made cosplays because yeah, some of these cosplays, like even just look at some of the stuff that Jeff gets. I mean, holy cow. Like it's professionally made, you know?
This one over here. Yeah. He makes them. Yeah. I got this line on. Yeah, she just
are you're making the maybe I shouldn't be talking about that.
No, I rarely keep anything a secret. So
I'm like,
well, because you're making the Boromir, right?
No, it's made.
Oh, it's made.
Yeah, that's not the next project that we're working on. The next project that we're working on is I'm doing a gender bent Black Widow.
Oh, that's right.
Nice.
That's right.
She's making me the cat suit and the whole 9 yards. So yeah. So that'll be
fantastic.
hopefully in March, but no.
I mean,
March.
You'll have it by then. We'll see if there's a convention.
I'll have it in March. If there's no convention, I'm sure a shoot can happen or whatever. But yeah, it's
photos.
Yeah, photos. I've been trying to figure out a gender bent cosplay for years and years and years, and this is the one that we finally settled on. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, I love that people in the comments are actually having a conversation with each other, and that's amazing. Yeah, people are commenting and replying to each other, so that's wicked.
That's great.
Hey, Sinnoh Creative is back. Ella off my ass off. I can't wait. It's gone.
Can't wait for
These
that.
Comments go so fast.
No, that's Sam. He's a wonderful guy in the cosplay community. That dude is body positivity. Same with Wayne Cuffey. They're body positives, body heroes. They're the guys that are carrying the flag for us on this particular topic. So
nice.
Lots of love on Instagram and such. So
yeah, when it comes to buying your costumes, honestly, why not? Like I have bought costumes. I make costumes. I do so many in a gosh darn year that if I made every single one, I would be nuts. I mean, I'm already crazy for what I do, but having even more added on, I couldn't imagine. So I count my bought cosplays as a cosplay I've done for the year, whether I've made it or added a piece to it or like just bought it out of package, put it on and wore it. I still count it as a cosplay that I've done for the year. Like,
but even some of the bought cosplay is found stuff. Like you're buying something that becomes part of the cosplay, right?
Yeah.
So for a lot of people, it's a combination of you know. I mean, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? I mean, as long as you're having fun doing it.
It's another one of those things that too many people seem to get hyper focused on. I've made stuff. Yeah. I've had professionals make me stuff, and I've bought Chinese reseller, Russian, Pakistani stuff shipped to me as well through like AliExpress and Wish and White Sheep Leather and that kind of stuff. So who cares? Like what why? You have so many resources now because it's never been an easier, better time to become a cosplayer because you have so many different ways to be a cosplayer. All the reseller sites, Amazon, Etsy, commissions from friends, make it yourself to learn with all the YouTube stuff, buy it at like who cares? There's a myriad of different ways that you can do it. So why get hyper focused on it'd be like me coming on saying I only get Chinese made costumes. That's it. I'm better than you guys. Sorry, man. I only get $60 Chinese costumes. Screw you guys. You suck. I'm awesome. Forget it. Why would anybody do that? It makes no sense whatsoever.
I mean, I disagree a little bit.
No, you can't. I've already said it. I'm done.
Well, I'm going to disagree anyway. Because, see, for me, there is a pride in making something, right? Wow, like there's a pride in making a costume like this,
course.
There's a pride in when people come to me and they're like, "Holy cow, did you make that?" I take pride in my work.
Sure. No.
Right? There's also the fact that I could never afford to buy a professionally made Predator like this.
Yeah.
Right?
As long as your pride doesn't turn into shaming those who aren't.
No, that's what. Yes,
but
exactly.
unfortunately, too often that's where that pride ends up leading, right?
Exactly.
Pride goes before a fall, so you end up looking down your nose at people that aren't taking the same kind of pride in it because they're spending $60 in China.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, but even if you know how to make things, like sometimes you just don't want to, or you don't have the time, or you just want to do the costume without putting in the extra effort of doing that thing, or of learning that specific task, or of trying to find like that specific material. Like I make a lot of my things, but there are some that I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna pay $80, get it shipped to me. If there's something I don't like about it, I'll change something on it. But I don't want to deal with most of it.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with buying a costume and altering it. Like that is also a thing that is done a lot, especially with like bodysuits and stuff too. Because again, I'm short, but my measurements are for a larger size. I always have to like bring the feet up or like, alter it to fit my body versus just pulling it out of the bag, putting it on and being okay with it. So even
do you have to do a lot of that when you buy, like, let's say you buy an off-the-shelf costume and then you have to tailor it to actually fit you?
If it's a Zentai suit or like full body, it's usually the length. Because again, I'm 5'2", but my measurements are bigger, so I always have to go in the larger sizes, which are meant for like 5'8", 5'9".
Yeah.
And so I like the arms and stuff are fine because I'm built like a linebacker, so I've got like these big wide shoulders, and so the upper is always fine. It's always the length in the legs. So a lot of my suits, you'll find where I've cut the legs off at like with the Black Cat Symbian suit, she has like the stockings up to a level, and then it's the pants, and then it's the underwear. Well, it seamed right at her boot cuffs, pulled the leg down, altered, reattached, because I had to shorten the suit to fit my body without altering the print and the design and things like that, because I am short.
Hey, Megan, don't you have the exact opposite problem?
I have the exact opposite problem because I have the most torso that you can ever find in a human. So I just can't buy like pre-done full suits unless I'm getting something that's like an extra large and then tailoring it all the way in, because I will just have the worst wedgie you have ever seen.
How tall? You're like 5'9",
I'm 5'10".
5'10".
Yeah.
So yeah, man, off the rack problems. It's tough. When you now a lot of the Zentai suit sites now you can put in your measurements,
custom,
right? And literally just,
most of them you can get them custom made. Yeah.
Sometimes it'll cut you extra, you get a little bit longer, but I mean.
So there's one.
Still not.
Yeah, there's one company that came out with a suit, and it is like the worst cosplay horror story of my life. Anyways, to sum it up, they only took 3 measurements for a woman's body.
Yep.
And I'm like, what? And so yeah, they only wanted above your chest, your waist, and your hips.
Yep.
And I was like, my torso length needs to be relevant, and I'm a true hourglass, so I have 10 inches between my like waist and my top and bottom, so anything that has to fit over my hips is not touching my waist, and it'll touch my bust. So it's like I have this space pocket of air around my midriff if I wanted to fit me, and it's those 3 measurements. So a lot of companies too, when you buy pre-made costumes, make sure you check how they measure you, because if it is those 3 measurements, do not purchase. Do not do it. It is not worth your time.
Yeah, if you're getting something custom made and they don't at least ask for like the distance from like the base of your neck to the floor as well as those 3, just don't do it.
Yeah, not worth it.
A lot of people in the comments here seem to agree that buying stuff and modifying it is definitely the way to go, especially if you're getting started into cosplay.
Yeah.
Great way to introduce yourself to cosplay is to buy something that's off the shelf. Maybe not necessarily buying a full costume, but finding parts that work and modifying them to fit the costume that you're working is a great introduction, and usually very cost effective when you're doing it.
Yeah,
that
and
way
I
as well.
sell a bunch of my old costumes too, because it's like I've worn them a couple of times. They're not going to fit, or they're not going to fit. I just don't want them anymore. So I always tell people, okay, this is the measurements. This is what they're to. It's made out of stretch. This is the like material, whatever. Like, you know, if you want it, have it. If you don't, like, whatever. Not a big deal.
All right, stop pitching your costumes to your TikTok followers there.
Buy my shit. Buy my shit. I have a huge basement full. Please.
Yeah, how many costumes did you do over the holidays? You did like the Christmas, the 24 days or 21
I
days
did
of Christmas,
12
whatever
days
it
of
was.
Christmas.
12 days of Christmas.
Yeah, and I did the 13 days of Halloween, and then I did my cosplay count 3 days before the new year, and I found out I only did 97, and I was very disappointed in myself because that's a stupid number. And so I busted out 3 more to make the 100 mark by the new year. And then I did one on New Year's Day. So I started the year off with a new one and ended the year with 100. So
you were also mentioning at one point. Yeah, you were mentioning at one point. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, don't feel lazy at all. I never tell people that they have to do what I do because not all mine are perfect. They're not. A lot are closet cosplays, things that are thrown together, things like that. Like it's my own personal thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, Ice Cave was just saying here. Sometimes it's a lot of pieces. It's just too much work to make every single piece.
Absolutely.
And you're right. I mean, sometimes you just can't make everything, and that's okay. You know, again, whatever way you go is whatever way you go. I don't think it matters as long as, again, you're having fun doing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you're not shaming others.
No. And I think
we only shame the assholes.
Only the assholes.
Well, shaming assholes. Right. There we go.
Or being assholes. Yes, that's correct.
Being assholes to assholes.
But not for anything else.
Yeah. And I think the whole body shaming thing goes a little bit further than just body shaming, right? It's just about be nice to people. Like, you know, there's no reason for people to be jerks to other people just for the sake of being jerks. I mean, yeah, like I said earlier, this day and age that we live in has brought on real life trolls. People that will just be assholes because they can be assholes. But, you know, hopefully we can just ignore those people and be assholes back to them. And the rest of the population can regain a little bit of common sense and you know, be nice to people. When I grew up, there was a saying, if you've got nothing good to say, don't say anything at all.
That's
people
from
seem
Thumper.
To have forgotten that.
I was saying, I'm like, embrace the Thumper mentality.
Yeah.
I think that
Bambi taught us everything.
Trying to change the conversation, because I agree with you, don't be a jerk, but I feel like a lot of people coming up and doing fit shaming or skinny shaming or old shaming, they're, believe it or not, a lot of the time their intention isn't necessarily be shitty or be a jerk or whatever. They just, for whatever reason, they feel it's okay or comfortable to have that level of conversation with another human. That's where we've got to start changing the mentality.
I think that's the filter aspect.
A little bit. Like, think whatever you want. Like JS was saying, you can have an opinion, just keep it to yourself. You don't get to come up and say that to somebody. So I want to make sure that we're clear, guys, too, because like JS said, he's done it. I'm sure almost all of us have done it, that we've gone up to somebody and be like, oh, you've lost weight or you've whatever. Yeah, we got to change the conversation. Nobody did it maliciously, but you still probably hurt that person's feelings, or you made them feel uncomfortable or whatever. Like, God forbid, if you got up to your friend and been like, oh my God, are you okay? What do you do if he goes, no, I've got cancer, I'm going to be dead in 6 months?
Yeah. Well, how would I? Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so note to self, that's how you respond next time somebody shames
I actually have. Yeah, I actually have people when I've lost weight, they come up, they're like, you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm really sick. And then you watch
humor.
Baseball and they'd be like, hey, that's why we don't say that shit to people and ask those kind of questions. Stupid. Anyways, yeah.
Sino Creative is saying here, the internet has made people comfortable with not getting punched in the face for being jerks.
I think it's a Mike Tyson quote. He's like, too many of y'all have never been punched in the face for what you're saying. It's 100% true from an older generation perspective. Yeah, you couldn't talk like this to people back in the day. You just get whacked. So
Body Heroes is saying, hey guys, I do a feature called Body Heroes of the Day about body positivity, and I would love to interview you guys individually. Hey, listen, just send us individual messages. I'm sure if we're available and able to, I'm sure everybody's going to make some time to chat with you. Holy cow, we've already been recording for over an hour. I don't know how long we've been live. I mean, you know, since this is a little bit of a cosplay episode, Cutie and Megan, I'll get to you as well. But Cutie, I remember you were talking I forget if it was in one of your stories or whatnot that you were already working on a bunch of cosplays for this year. You want to maybe give us a quick update on what you're working on and what you're going to be featuring, if there's any big cosplays or stuff that you're planning for this
so
year?
I've already completed one that was on the 1st of January. And that was a Wonder Woman Snow White mashup that I found some art and I brought it to life. I'm trying to focus more on mashups this year because I save a lot of photos and then I never touch them. And I love mashups. It's kind of like really cool to see how people turn one thing into another character in different fandoms and stuff. So I'm going to try and focus on that this year. So in the works right now, I have the Green Ranger Sailor Scout mashup happening.
Really?
So I have like all the scouts for done in the Ranger colors, but I'm starting with the green one because Green Rangers for life. But I'm going to do that one first, and then I might do all of them because
green would be Sailor Saturn.
Well, see, that's the thing.
I don't know them very well. Is that correct?
Well, yes, but at the same time, with the mashups, they don't really put labels on who's who. It's just like, this is Green Ranger, and they're done in a Sailor Scout. It's like the Disney princesses and things like that, too, in the Sailor Scout. They don't really say, like, this one's Moon, Jupiter, Mars, whatever. They just kind of, like, toss them in. So this artwork doesn't have, like, a label on them other than it's the Green Ranger. So I'm just running with it. But, yeah, so I'm building that. I'm doing a Valentine's Day cosplay because the skirt was bugging me and I couldn't figure out how to pleat it properly. So I turned into making another cosplay on the side. So that one will be done for Valentine's Day. And that is a Batman costume that's turned all pink. So
nice.
We'll see if I can do that. We'll see.
Very cool. Megan?
So a lot of the costumes that I'm planning on finishing this year are ones that I had planned to do before the plague hit. So everything's just kind of been pushed way back. Ones that I'm hoping to get done are, I have an Anne Bonny from Black Sails that I'm working on.
Yeah.
I have, it actually works because now my hair is red, so I don't need a wig.
Perfect.
See, procrastinating, it worked in this case. It was good. Other ones that I want to work on are, I'm doing a Tasha Yar from Star Trek.
Oh, very cool.
Yep, and then Lilu from Fifth Element.
Yeah.
And I'm also updating my my Black Widow suit since I'm making Jeff's one anyways. I might as well fix mine.
Nice.
And Megan, take a second and talk about what you have been busy with during the plague.
So what I have been busy with during the plague is I've really expanded my online store. I do still have it, but I have an Etsy shop that I now have my own website for in addition to that. And I'm planning on getting studio space, and it's what I do full time now. So yay.
Nice. That's
really?
Awesome.
Well, congratulations.
Yep, 'cause I'm nuts, but it's worked so far, so I'm okay with it.
Go ahead and plug it, Megan. Let people know where they can find your stuff.
So the Instagram is Valkyrie Custom Wear, and then website is valkyriecustomwear.ca. There's things. It's a lot of like medieval and fantasy.
Nice.
But now you're slowly getting into some modern wear as well. So
yeah, modern clothing that's more inspired by it.
You got this really cool new male model that you got working with you on some stuff now too.
Sure
I don't remember who he is. He looked kind of familiar, super old, but I mean, he looked kind of familiar. So yeah.
If you go to my Instagram now, the row of Jeff's photos is directly below the row of Doggo photos. So like the first two rows are like top tier right now.
Dog and old dog. It's perfect. Yeah.
Nice.
That works really, really well. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is, wow. Holy cow.
Hey.
I'm on your shop now and holy smokes.
Yep.
I do things.
Yeah.
I do things. That's so cute.
I do things. Yeah. I do things.
Talking about doing things, are you ever going to do another David Bowie Labyrinth shoot?
Yes. So I'm going to do more. I'm actually planning on making more of the outfits from Labyrinth. I only have technically 2 right now, but like I want to make the big black cloak. I want to make the white owl one at the end. Like I want to make all of them. They're amazing.
I got to say, those are some of my favorite pictures of yours.
Yeah, her Jareth is dope.
It's amazing.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
That movie is trash, but
no, you shut
it's
your whore mouth.
her
Right?
costume.
You're
her
officially
making of the
canceled, good
costume
sir.
are dope. Yes. Yeah. That movie's a tragedy. But I'm not shaming those who love it. I didn't like it. So you're just getting my opinion. You can go ahead and like it if you want.
Well, I
have it
suppose you're
tattooed.
allowed to not like it.
See? I have
That's
like
right.
the Labyrinth owl and everything and a quote tattooed on me. So
See,
Nice. It's good. It's
Good
really great.
Oh, come on. You're going to tell me as a kid you didn't love that movie?
I did not know because I didn't watch it as a kid because I had
also
taste
didn't
even
watch
then.
it as a kid.
That's right.
Really?
I first
I
saw it
watched
for the
it.
first time 3 years ago. So you know
Oh
what?
my God.
You just have you uncultured swine.
Yes, that's correct.
Well, the
But I have watched
anniversary
it.
of his passing just happened too.
That's
So.
right.
Jeff is over party. Rob says I have a Labyrinth poster on my wall. You do.
Who said
nice.
hashtag Jeff is over party?
The dork side.
Oh, that would be the dark side.
That's hilarious.
No
Hashtag cancel
slander.
Jeff.
Yeah, Hypergate Cosplay.
Yeah.
No slander, Jeff.
Yeah. Not slander. You're allowed to like what
Tim's
you like.
asking never-ending story versus Labyrinth. That's a very.
Thank you.
I don't know that I can answer.
Never ending story. What are you kidding me? It's not even close. Never ending
know.
story by a mile, dude. That
Really?
movie's
Never-ending story
amazing.
traumatized me as a child. I like Labyrinth way more.
So good. Okay, the horse.
Never-ending
in the
story as a child
swamp,
made me
terrible,
cry.
But yeah,
The horse in the
As
swamp is
someone
the
who does
best.
horseback
ever.
riding,
Yeah,
it was
that's
not okay.
Yeah. That emotionally scarred a lot of people. So, oh yeah, see no creative. He's got my back. He's like, it's okay, Jeff. I haven't seen it at all. Sam, you're missing nothing.
See, he hasn't seen it. He doesn't know what he's missing.
Yeah, you need to watch it. It's like one of the
Terribleness.
best movies.
David
out
Bowie's
there.
the only good part of that whole film. So, yeah, agree with Jeff.
I mean, I
He's
feel like
Rob's
that
with me
film
on
was
this.
made for David Bowie, right? Like the whole film was built around him, really.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They just had him do what Elvis used to do. Just sing your lines, Bowie. And he's like, cool.
Rob says agree with Jeff about what?
See?
We
About
don't agree with
Labyrinth.
him
And
about anything.
No, well, you guys don't because you're heathens, but that's fine. That's allowed.
I
We're
mean,
the
Rob
cool
has a
kids club,
poster
please.
of Labyrinth
Yeah.
on his wall, and he's going to say that it's not a good movie.
No, probably that he prefers the never-ending story.
Oh,
Would be my
maybe.
guess
Fair
what he's
enough.
agreeing on. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I haven't seen it either. I just want to join the angry mob.
Jeff,
Yeah.
how? I mean, I know you've placed an order for your, I guess Battinson suit is the way people are
I have
going.
not placed the order yet.
Oh,
I
you
have
have not placed the order yet. I thought you
no.
did. Oh,
I have
I'm
not.
sorry.
No.
So it's not coming along then. Okay.
Right. So I know the gentleman that's going to be making it. He's in
Yeah.
Russia. He's on a brief break right now because of COVID. So as soon as he comes back, he will then begin making my suit. Blue Beetle is complete. I am also doing Corbin Dallas to go with this one's Lilu. So Corbin is complete. I just finished bloodying up the shirt or whatever. And then Cobb Vanth, I have the shirt, I have the pants. So it's really just the armor. I'm probably gonna my buddy Reed's 3D props. He made my Peacemaker helmet. An incredible maker. He just did a full Boba Fett armor, and it looks amazing, like piece by piece by piece.
3D printed or
3D printed, the whole 9 years, but for the current iteration of Boba. But I mean, again, the Cobb Vanth armor is exactly the same, just a lot more beat up. So I may throw a message over to him and be like, so what can we do?
I'm actually considering doing an updated Boba Fett, like the new Boba Fett.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of making him out of foam, actually, not 3D printed. 3D printed's too long for that suit.
No, you'd be safe.
Either out of foam or some sort of plastic, but 3D printed.
Thermoplastic?
Yeah, some sort of thermoplastic, whether it be styrene or I don't know. I would have to look into it, but I feel like, you know, Tamora Morrison has a little bit more of my body shape than, you know, Cobb Vanth. Let's put it that way.
Anyways, yes.
Jeff, do you have any crossover cosplays?
Do I do any crossover? I don't actually know, and I haven't because I don't think I've ever kind of gotten into a. Without going off on a tangent, for me, cosplay is about sort of connecting with people and getting them to experience the fandom in a different way or in a new way. And first, personally, and I don't shame anybody for the way they do the cosplay, but I feel like mashups would be more for me because I'm just taking two characters that I love and mashing them together. And a lot of the times, sometimes it can maybe get lost in translation where I feel like I'd be constantly explaining what this is type of thing, and people aren't going to really get that same experiences when they see Captain America or Spider-Man or, you know, a popular character. So yeah, I haven't done any mashups. I'm not ruling it out completely, but it would really have to be, I toyed with the idea of a comedian Negan mashup because they're both played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan and they were both two popular characters. But when I started to try to break down the logistics of what would wear what and what would fit with what, it just, everything was getting lost in translation. So I never bothered doing it, but I'm not ruling it out, but it's probably not going to happen. So yeah, the gender bend first. Let me get my gender bend out of the way, and then we'll see what's going to happen.
Hypergate Cosplay is saying Mando group. I mean, I'd be up for a Mando group cosplay for sure.
Yeah, dude.
So, and then the dark side responds, permission to be Baby Yoda. Sure.
Absolutely. Yes. Always use a Baby Yoda.
I want to do it all day. Yeah, Body to Hero says, I want to do a gender bend as the Armorer. She's badass. She really is. I'm really disappointed they didn't find a way to somehow bring her back in season 2. I really hope they find a way to bring her back in season 3 because she was, I mean, it was great to see other Mandalorians, but she was my favorite. She looked very different as far as her outfit was, so I loved that.
Yeah, she was dope.
A Batman Mando cosplay with Robin Grogu. That would be funny, like a Batman Mando mashup with a Robin Grogu mashup.
So the cool thing about mashups and stuff like that, because I do a lot of freaking searches on mashups, you have no idea, it's ridiculous. Look for art, because there is pre-existing art. So if you struggle trying to find some type of mashup, look it up. Like legit, just Google it, and tons of different art styles will pop up, and it's really cool because you can kind of take pieces from each art style if you want to make it your own and unique. But it's a great way to start with a mashup too.
Oftentimes, if you think of a mashup, somebody else has already thought about it and has already done some sort of a design online that you can go and look at for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's definitely fun to do sometimes. And when people actually get the characters without you needing to explain, like, that is the best feeling.
Right? It's like, yes, I nailed it.
Yeah. One of my favorite ones was me and the rest of the KW Marvelous Girls. We did Assassin's Creed Disney. And I did an Elsa as assassin, and from the other side of a hall, a little girl like screamed Elsa and ran away from her parents and like jumped at me. I was like, cool, okay, this is still recognizable. I'm good.
Yeah, it reads right. We're good.
Yeah.
I guess that's a tough part sometimes when you do mashups, is making sure that you want it to still be recognizable as both, right? And sometimes, like Jeff says, when you start mixing them together, it doesn't translate well, and you start losing what the characters are, right? Yeah, you lose one or the other, or even both sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
I feel like if I didn't get the balance exactly right, I would hate it. So that's why I'm afraid to even try to make the attempt, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've done many Snow White mashups, and I've never done her actual costume, and all of them read Snow White, which is really, really nice. But I did this one last year where I found like this really cute dress and this little red shirt and like this little gold tiara, and I was like, oh, it's like a 50s like Wonder Woman style thing. And I painted stars on the skirt and did it all up, and everybody's like, is this a Wonder Woman Snow White mashup? And I was like, it is now. Like, sure. Like, if that's what it reads, we're running with it. Nailed it.
Exactly.
But yeah,
a lot of people are actually listing ideas like that, like a Jon Snow White.
Yeah, I get that one a lot every winter. Everybody's like, so like Jon Snow, get it? And I'm like, yeah, I know, I got it. And I love the fact, because I want to wear a beard so bad. I love putting facial hair on and messing with everybody's minds. It's like my favorite thing of all time. But yeah, I haven't done that
this year, didn't you?
Oh, I've done a lot of them.
Yeah.
I did the Bo Rat with the bikini and like the mustache, and what else did I do? Oh gosh, I've done the Nutcracker with like the curly mustache and the goatee. I've done a Yeti with a full-on beard.
I encourage all facial hair.
Right? Yeah, it's the way to go.
We're supporters of facial hair.
Fully supported.
Yeah.
My favorite is doing like a back shot first, and everybody's like, ooh, she's in like a female character of this like person, and I whip around, it's like this big beard. It's like, what's up? They just like instantly like awkward. Yeah.
They're like, I have the weirdest boner right now. I don't know what to
I
do.
get that a lot. It's like, that's the most awkward boner. It's like, okay, you're welcome. The Grinch.
Before we log off, guys, I
the quiet voice of reason jumping in. This conversation's going off the rail.
Well, yeah. Hey, listen, we have to rein it back a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
But as much as, I think all of us has gotten these negative comments, and as much as, we've been made to feel pretty crappy about some of our cosplays or some of our appearances and so on and so forth, does the reaction of even a little kid, when I showed up at Fan Expo in that Predator costume and I saw this little girl, she's probably no older than 10 years old, in her Predator costume, freaking out because there were predators there. Does that for you guys make it all worthwhile regardless of the bad comments?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Close it back, yeah.
Yep. If I never did another photo shoot again, I would not give the remotest of a shit. If I never posted anything else to Instagram again, I would not care. Sorry, folks. If I never got to go and interact with live humans in cosplay anymore, that would bum me the fuck out. For me, it's all about that and nothing about anything else. It's why I've gravitated towards more popular characters, because that's the biggest reaction that I get. And to see that gleeful face like you're talking about, when I dress up as Spider-Man, nothing else I've ever done even comes close to matching Spider-Man. I put Spider-Man and I go out in the public and I go out in places and kids just lose their minds when they see me. You can bring joy like that to that many people. Why wouldn't you want to do that? You know what I'm saying? That's just me though. Your mileage.
No, you nailed it. Like, that's exactly the biggest thing, and the best reactions is to know that you've kept the dream alive for those kids. And the best part is kids are not picky. You can be a plus size cosplayer. You can be anything. You can be, a whatever gender, race, all those things, and they won't care. You're their like character. You brought that dream to life. Like, that means everything. And us as adults should learn from those children. Like, legit.
Excellent. Well, listen, thanks for coming back on. I'm guessing you guys had a good enough experience last time to, still want to come back on. So I really appreciate the both of you coming back and joining us again. Thanks for everybody on Instagram for sticking with us. There's still people just joining us now. Unfortunately, we're at the end here. But for the people that have been following us along, thank you very much. I know I haven't gotten to all the comments. I mean, they just zoom by so fast that I can't get to them all. But thanks for everybody watching. Jeff, thank you very much again for posing on Instagram, drinking your drink, in your tank top, looking all buff and,
I was dying in my sweater. I apologize.
No, that's okay.
Not meant to be that. I promise you. That's why I started out with a sweater, but
that's
dying.
okay.
I'm trying to set.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Trying to set something up for next week. I don't want to really say it here live just in case this specific gentleman can't make it, but we may have a special episode next week where we're gonna really geek out.
I know.
So if you guys let me put it this way, if you guys enjoyed Ghostbusters Afterlife, you'll want to tune in next week. If you haven't seen Ghostbusters Afterlife, what are you freaking doing? Go watch the movie, because it is friggin' the shit. For everybody watching us here on YouTube, thank you very much for sticking with us till the end. Make sure you leave us a like and a comment below. We've talked about a lot of stuff, but I always like to hear what people have to say and think. That'll be it for today. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay geeky. We'll see you next time.